Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? So thank you for joining for the third podcast. This time I'm introducing my friend Mike. Mike, if you want to say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
So Mike is joining us from Thailand in Bangkok, right? Right now you're in Bangkok right now.
Yes, I'm in Bangkok, Thailand. It's about 12:09 a.m.,
Oh
so
my
it's
God,
kind of late. Yeah,
it's
everyone's
1:08
sleeping.
here, 1:08 p.m. and like so much difference.
I guess the clocks will adjust pretty soon, yeah?
Yeah. All right. So Mike, I've been friends with Mike since I went to Temple University. Maybe like I met him in maybe 2011 or 2012. And we both been, we both were very interested in the whole like digital marketing, how to sell online and like do websites and try to like make something out of those websites, right? And he's so I consider him like a big e-commerce and digital marketing master guru. Like he's been pretty very successful, in a lot of the projects that he has undertaken. So uh yeah, Mike, why don't you like start like telling us the story, like I mean, since we met, like why did you decide like, oh, I want to go to Thailand, and then like the progress of how it's been going like that.
Okay, so I guess, well, you can hear me clearly, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's good sound.
Yeah. So I think it was maybe a year or so before I was going to graduate from university. And at that time, I just never traveled to another country besides Jamaica. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, and it was only Jamaica because, my mom and dad are Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we would go visit, every summer.
Yeah.
And I had never been to another country. I had opportunities to study in other countries, but the whole cost of studying abroad is very expensive. And it was through playing soccer, right, playing football, that I was able to meet someone who offered me that opportunity
Well,
to
that's how I
come
met
to
you too, I
Thailand.
think, right? In the soccer.
Yeah, so it's through playing soccer that we all met each other. And through that international environment, I was able to meet and find out about other opportunities across the world that I would have otherwise never thought were possible. Right.
Yeah.
So Saren Yu, as you know him, um, without much context of who he is, told me that, if you come to Thailand, you can teach English and make a decent living. And at the time, it just sounded absurd to me, right?
Yeah.
That I could teach English and make a living. But that's how it basically started.
Yeah, I
Right.
think, well, I think even back then, because I was kind of like researching a little bit back then about those kind of things. Even
Mm-hmm.
back then, I remember like, I think the teaching English as a foreign language was kind of like, I wouldn't say it was big as it is now, right? Because now it's like huge everywhere, right?
Oh, it's a big market now.
A
Yeah,
big
definitely.
market, right? But I think even then, I remember, man, like it was kind of like starting to build up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, man. So you went to so you decided to go like after you graduated, or
Yeah, so as soon as I graduated, right, I was actually waiting. I already had a job waiting for me, but I couldn't actually get a work permit until I had my degree. And I didn't get my degree yet from Temple. So I had to actually hold my flight back a little bit in order to wait for my degree to arrive.
yeah.
And then as soon as I got my degree, I went off. I just got on, what I mean? Like it was almost simultaneous from the time my degree arrived in the mail to the time that I got onto a flight to go to. I landed in Korea, and then I went from Korea to Shanghai, and Shanghai to Bangkok.
Or you were in China actually for some time,
Well, no, just sort of stopping through, right?
just through. Okay.
Yeah. So it was after a year or so about with teaching, and you meet certain people when you're out here. You meet a lot of characters out here in Thailand. You know that, right?
Yeah, man. Well, I have some. I remember some crazy things, man. That like I think I guess the the character thing is like when you like just like the parting is big there, right? Especially when you landed there, you were probably like, what is this, you know?
I think so. I've been out here now since 2012, right? And I do come back home every once in a while, but since I left, I've spent a majority of my time out here in Thailand. And one thing I know is that you never know who you're
Parting with,
talking to. You
yeah,
never know who you're partying with. You never know who you're talking to. You never know who you just, asked if this seat open.
yeah,
It's just like this is a city, a country full of characters, but Bangkok especially.
yeah,
So one thing I know that is that there's people doing a lot of digital work with blogging,
yeah.
with e-commerce, affiliate marketing, stock trading, just stuff like that, doing digital marketing services, which is something that I was very unfamiliar with at the time. But what I did know was that the low barrier to entry with blogging was
Hmm.
kind of my ticket initially, kind of what sparked my interest, kind of to more or less escape from the teaching lifestyle because I loved living in Thailand, but I didn't I didn't like teaching so much. I like it, but it's not something I want to
Yeah, it
be
wasn't
like,
like your passion.
yeah, I don't want to be like 45, just still, trying to make, and the money is not anything to brag about, despite
Yeah,
what anyone tells you, right? So I thought like, okay, well, this could supplement my income and then potentially take over. And I got into blogging. I had a website, uh, and I did about maybe 40 or 50 good posts over the course of a year. And from there, we were able to start generating some income from it. And that's when I realized, like, I'm waking up and I'm making money, right? I'm waking
yeah,
up and seeing that I made money. And it all started to click a little bit. And that's when I started to get the idea that maybe I should push into e-commerce, because the one thing with affiliate marketing is that maybe I didn't have as much control. And sometimes it just, I would wonder if if the merchants were tracking all my affiliate conversions or not.
yeah,
That's something you have to trust with them, right? Because unless you're using like a platform like ShareAsell or Amazon, but if you're just with the website and they have their own built-in affiliate platform, you could be getting tons and tons of conversions and they're just not
yeah,
counting them,
yeah.
right? And you can't, what can you really do about it? At least to my knowledge. So yeah, that's when I kind of got into e-commerce. And then pretty much from there on out, I I took a course, started networking with people,
Hmm.
failed a lot, learned a lot, and it just takes one success for it all to be worth it.
Yeah. Well, I can definitely I know about that, man, because I try e-commerce too a few times, and unfortunately, I at least I can say I've been able to sell, I've been able to when you get those sales, it's
It's a good
definitely,
feeling.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a nice feeling, and I guess after like a while you're just like, whatever, you're just like but yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
definitely, the e-commerce is real, man. I definitely believe that you can, like, once you get down I mean, it's just so much stuff, right? Because I'm
yeah,
going
there's a lot
through.
to take in. Mhm.
Yes, it's a lot, man, because a lot of like people there, you see a lot of these YouTube ads and like, oh yeah, like, look at, like, they show you like a phone, right? This is not a phone,
Mhm.
but you get the idea. It's like, oh look, I just made like $10 million or whatever,
Bro, I
they
know,
make
I'm
it,
so sick of that too.
and then they
Because
have like a fucking Lamborghini in the back, It's like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, I know. Because,
I
dude,
mean,
if you're doing that, bro, if you're doing those numbers, though, like, you got to be honest. You have a business things happen. And what they don't ever really share with you is how many of those orders got canceled, right? I
yeah,
talked about this in one of my videos. How many of those orders got canceled? How many of those orders turned into chargebacks?
yes,
Did How many of those orders got returned? Arrive damaged. There's
yeah,
tons of situations and scenarios that a lot of these people who are trying to make you take some type of action or, kind of edify themselves to us for us to want to buy their course, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's a lot of that, man, and I can definitely vouch for you, man, because I know I've seen the I think I've been a little bit in and out, but I've seen the progress with you throughout the years, you know. So I
yeah, you
can,
were there from the beginning. And I remember when I was just getting started, I was trying to get you on board too.
well, I help you with John guy
Yeah.
at one point, remember? Like I think
Damn,
it was like
John.
one of the very best big sales that you had, one of the big ones I think you had. And I came in as a backup for like the phone, you know, because you were,
Oh my God,
yeah.
dude, that is such a sick story too. Yo. So just for the people listening as well, right? When I started my first e-commerce store, um, and everything was and like the very first e-commerce store you create, if you're not like a tech savvy, web savvy type of person, it could take you anywhere from like 2 to 3 months to get your first store up and running
Mhm.
properly. And mind you, this was with the course that I had helping in a community as well, a Facebook community to get feedback from. This was what was it, like 2014?
No, that was like that was a, well, when you did that, when I helped you with that one, that was like in
Yeah.
2016.
Okay, so let's say it was about 2016, because yeah, I just came back from Bangkok in 2015. So that makes sense, right? It was right before I left back home to go back to Thailand. So it's 2000.
You were here in the US, I remember, because I think you were like in a wedding or something.
Yeah, because it was a 3-day wedding and then I went back to Thailand.
Yeah.
So so yeah, I do high ticket drop shipping just to provide a little more context. I don't sell products from AliExpress. I think it's a nightmare to do that.
Oh, I think the
Um,
camera went off, bro.
oops, hold on. I don't know
Okay,
how I
there it
did
is.
that. Okay. Yeah, I don't sell products on AliExpress. I sell high ticket products. So this is products with an average order value of about 300 plus in my book. Now, other people may tell you other things, other prices, but I think anything over $300 for me is a good high ticket product.
Yeah.
Again, you can sell 500, 600, 7,000. Some people sell 3,000, $4,000 items, right? But for me, I find that sweet spot between 300 and $900. But I also have items that go well over $5,000. So this was my very first store that I launched, and my very first order was for $5,000. Right? It was plus 5,000, and of course I was just like in my head, like, oh my God, like if I can get 3 or 4 of these per month, you know what I mean? I'm chilling.
Yeah.
And the only problem is that it's a new store and it's a very big order.
Yeah.
And the processor, this is, from a risk assessment point of view, when you see an order that large from a very new store, you have to kind of take the proper steps. And they immediately froze my store when I tried to capture the payment. And the big problem there was that I didn't have the money to I didn't have the money sitting around the capital to fulfill that order without that money
Yeah.
settling into my account. So you could imagine it's like I think it was in total it was like 59.99, right? $5,999. Gave him a 10% discount, and my wholesale cost was like 3,900. And I didn't have that money. I had $500 in my bank account that I said, if I spend this all and I don't get any sales, I'm going to go back to affiliate marketing, go back to
Yeah.
blogging, right? Because that's a lot cheaper to do,
Dude, it's just the amount of money, man. Holy.
renew your domain name, right? All you have to do with blogging was renew my domain name. I can use those free plugins and just create content. Whereas with e-commerce, there is more overhead, not a lot, but with drop shipping, right, you have a majority of your money going to ad spend, I believe.
Yeah,
Right.
I think the whole money goes into there, right? Like just ad spend.
Yeah, mostly ad spend. So I got that order. They froze my account and I didn't have the money to fulfill it. So I just had to wait. And then, yeah, going to that wedding in a car lot, big mistake in the end, honestly. But again, I didn't have the money. I didn't have the resources or the skills. I really didn't even like talking on the phone to people.
Yeah.
And Alex, with his customer service experience, raised his
I came
hand
in,
and
I
said,
remember I was like,
yeah,
this is I was like, I can't remember what it was, but I just got, because we had an app. You connected my phone to an app.
yeah.
And
What was
I
that called? Viper or Mighty Call or something?
maybe
Yeah.
Viper.
Yeah.
So I just see the number and I'm like, oh my God, this is probably like somebody, And like I don't know if I had access or whatever, but the guy was like, oh yeah, like where's my order and stuff like that. And I think I don't remember exactly the details because that happened like a long time ago.
Hmm.
But I think you already had like a script or like well, you had the order like that it was gonna be fulfilled, but it was gonna they had there's a like a between 3 to 5 day limit, right, for the fulfillment. So he has to
Hmm.
wait until those like 3 to 5 days fulfillment. And that's kind of what I told him. Like I
And
calm him down.
he also had assembly as well.
Yeah,
So they had to first deliver it to the assembly company, and then the assembly company, but it didn't end up working like that. They ended up just delivering it to him, and then we had to wait for the assembly company to arrive.
like
It was all messy, but in the end, he was pretty cool about it, because
but
I
yeah,
think at the end of the day, mate, they just want to, you know, they just, I came through for him, and I answered the phone when he called.
yeah.
And even if the news wasn't good, I still gave him the news.
Well,
And
it shows
yeah,
that I think it goes to great lengths, man. When like, I've been researching a lot, and like I think like customer service is like number one, when it comes to like to build like a relationship with like a customer, right? Because you know
absolutely.
even if
And they'll
you
recommend people too.
yeah, even if you yeah, because they're like, oh, these guys are leads, they're telling me like all this stuff, like
They answer
I
their
had a
phone, they
yeah,
respond to the emails.
something like that happened to me. I ordered this couch here in the back from Wayfair, and I was like, I waited for like a month. I'm like, is this coming from China or whatever? Is this like an AliExpress?
You would be
Fucking
none the wiser to know though, right? Because that's the
yeah,
thing. A lot of people will scrutinize the smaller websites, and they'll never think twice about these larger ones. You could
yeah,
order from Amazon today and maybe wait 3 weeks and then just think it was a logistical issue when in fact the seller was ordering it from China to ship it to you. Right.
yeah,
So
and I'm
whereas
like,
if you bought it from a smaller website, you might not think that.
yeah, and that's exactly, because I had my mind. I'm like, oh man, these guys from Wayfair, like these guys are probably ordering this shit from China. And I called them, because I was like, hey man, where's my couch? And they were like, oh, they were cool, man. They were very like, like but that's what I'm saying. It goes back to the customer service.
Yeah.
The lady was like, oh, I've been tracking them and like this and that. And she followed, they went out of their way to follow up the day after, because it was on a Sunday when I called,
Mhm.
and they couldn't reach FedEx on Sunday to like know what was going on. So the lady actually like follow up on Monday, the day after, and she called me and she was like, "Hey Alex, how are you? We talked yesterday and whatever, and I just wanted to follow up and like, like I have a tracking number now and everything." And
Mhm.
I'm like, "Oh, wow, that's cool, like." So I think like those details, man, like
A positive experience because now
yeah,
you're more comfortable to order with them again. And I think most businesses know that if
yeah,
you come through for them, even if it's not, perfect, you're still more likely to give them another chance than to go with someone completely new again.
yeah,
So only if it's a truly horrible experience will you probably then decide to look elsewhere.
yeah, probably,
And it's
so
just,
yeah.
there's no science on that. I'm just saying it.
And so in my imagination, that's like a small channel of like e-commerce, or like just customer service, man, like to
And
build
I
like
mean,
an
that's Amazon, isn't it, though? Like,
yeah.
can you even win without them anymore? You wonder sometimes.
Hmm.
Every time I look for a new dealer, I have to tell them, we find our traffic on our own. It all comes from advertising. We don't sell on Amazon. We don't sell on eBay. We don't, because they don't want to sign up dealers who are just going to go to Amazon to sell their product when it's probably already saturated with their product on that platform.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's interesting, man. That you've been able to build this whole, you know, thing, like, you know, and I think like you have a lot of experience, stuff like that. And now you're putting out videos too, right? Like sharing some of your.
Trying to. It's
Mhm.
actually a lot of work, and given, I have stores now, three websites, three stores, and I'm
Wow.
also trying to create, I'm also trying to create another website as well, as you know, where I'm working on Flex Commerce,
Hmm.
trying to basically send home the whole high ticket e-commerce drop shipping service to help
Hmm.
other people improve their marketing, their store design, and
Yeah.
basically running it as a business in general, and the little ins and outs that you really acquire over time, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, and just the amount of time, and you know it too, to edit a video, to make sure, especially when I'm doing demonstrations, I don't want people to see my website, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Because that's just, I'm making your life too easy if you get to see my URL. You could just copy my website, and then
Yeah. Just copy
all,
paste, you know.
all my hard work and research is there for you in a undone in 3 seconds, you know?
Yeah. No, it takes a lot of work, man, to do all those
Yeah.
things, you know.
And you want to be happy with what you upload too, because it's there. You don't want to put all this work into it, upload it, then go, I don't like it, and delete it. That would kill your motivation even more.
Yeah, and we're definitely gonna plug in the website. I mean your channel here, so like people can go check it out. You know, if they're interested in learning more about that. You know.
Yeah, that's cool. I appreciate that. Yeah, so my idea is to provide little tutorials, just some, reflections from my
Mhm.
experience, and hopefully people can learn from that. Maybe it can give them new ideas, or they can ask questions and get further understanding on what to
Yeah.
do. Because, the difference is, I think a lot of people say drop shipping doesn't work. And I think a lot of people have followed a very similar model that is
Hmm.
difficult to replicate success with.
Yeah.
And like I said, you see someone who shows you their phone, and they say, "Oh, you know, 70,000 in sales in my first week." Like, we don't know if that dude or person even turned a profit.
Yeah.
I've seen it too. How do I know you turned a profit? How
Yeah.
do I know you didn't just figure, okay, well, if I burn 10K and make 7K in sales,
I can just show this to
I
people,
can show this, I'll get a bunch of views. The money I'll make,
subscribers.
yeah, the money I'll make in the long run from this is going to far surpass the loss that I'm going to incur temporarily.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of that, man. Because you know, I don't know if you know about this guy. He's like he's always like with like is Belzera something? I can't remember the guy's first name, but it's like this big bodybuilder guy, right?
Are you talking about Blazarian? Dan
I
Blazarian?
Yeah, so this guy, man, you know,
What about him?
you just see all these pictures, you know, it's like, well, I was
Apparently
like
he's a
reading,
poker
I was like,
player.
what? I was like, what happened to this guy, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, you go and his Instagram and stuff like that, he's like with all these hot women, you know, all the time, big cars, mansions, and all this stuff. And you know, I was like, I googled him the other day, and they were like, oh yeah, you know, he had like a whole like breakdown, you know. So basically it showed like he was like just renting the mansion, you know, like,
Ah, I see.
yeah, he was renting the cars, and like like it's what you're saying, you know, everything
Mm,
was just like a big you know, like self promotion kind of thing, like none of it was real, you know.
of
So
course.
I think there's a lot of that going on.
But we don't question that, right?
Uh-huh.
Because if you think, I think about a story. I don't remember the guy's name, but there was a YouTuber who was also a drop shipper, and he was drop shipping products from AliExpress. And I mean, even if you find a shipping agent, spare me the details. But this guy ended up killing himself from the debt he accrued in
Wow.
chargebacks, to the point where it was just like, you know, I could be facing jail time.
Yeah. Wow, man.
And
I didn't hear about this. Where did you, how did you
I
find out
actually
about it?
I actually want to just take a quick look for it again, because he used to always, I remember I used to watch some of his videos too, and I was just like, man, this guy does crazy numbers, right? He's always doing crazy numbers, but he was actually getting into legal trouble
Yeah.
because of all the chargebacks he was getting. I mean, there's a one second. I put Christopher Waller, maybe. Yeah, his name
Damn,
was
man.
Chris Waller. He was born 1998, and he left us in 2020, January 14th. And I don't want to be a dick, but that was right before COVID too.
Is this the guy that was an American gymnast? No, right?
No, his name was Chris Waller. I could say YouTube. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, man. Well, it's like, that's, a lot of people, man, that's why I mean, okay.
And you'll see the image too, right? The image they have of him. He's sitting on a Jaguar,
Yeah.
and that's the image that people see.
Yeah.
And I don't want to. I'm just saying though, like, this is a extreme example, of course, of trying to, what's the word, as they say, clout chasing on YouTube, where you try to portray this lifestyle in order to hopefully get other people to buy your course or to ask you for some type of mentorship. It's a slippery slope, really, I think.
Yeah, man. He was only 22.
Only 22. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
So is
man.
there a way? You know what I mean? Is there a way? Sorry, I had to move and just sitting in my
Osaka.
bed.
I remember that shirt, man. Legendary
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
When
But
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, man, that's like really sad, man, that people chase success and fame, I guess, and I think, like, well, that's not the real. I mean, if it comes with whatever you do, fine, but
I'm sure he experienced success and was successful at one point, but there's a point where the operation gets so large, you have to kind of, it's happened to me as well. But I'll be 100% honest. Sometimes, well, people will say, like, if you're successful, then why do you want to do this, right?
yeah,
And I used to say that too. And I think the answer really is, as well, you know would you want to eat a TV dinner for 5 years straight, or would you want to eat pizza every day for 5 years straight? Would you want to eat this same meal
yeah,
every
steak.
day
Yeah,
for
you gotta
5 years
like
straight?
you gotta like change it up.
So yeah, and that's one thing too, is one, it's, there is a sense of becoming jaded in e-commerce, right? So I do have a virtual assistant, and I'll be 100% honest. Some days of the week, I don't even check my email anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not to brag. It's not a good thing to do that, because I'm relying on someone who I don't really pay an extreme amount of money to really take care of to take care of my business, which I've invested to this point hundreds of thousands of dollars in,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it is comforting to wake up the next day and know that everything is still okay, right?
Yeah.
But what if, you ignore your business so long that you start focusing on the YouTubes and and the courses, and you're getting all these orders, they're getting canceled or charged back, right? You have to have the process set up. You got to take the time to set up the process. And like I said, it's not okay to ignore your business. But over time, I do understand, because some days I just don't want to deal with it, right? And that's why I hired a virtual assistant.
Yeah.
That's why I'm interested in trying to help people. Because some people say, well, I get messages from people and they say, I want to change the world. A guy said this to me. He said, can you please teach me this? I want to change the world. And the first question I asked him was, how much money do you have? And of course, he thought I was trying to ask him for money,
For money.
which I wasn't. I'm trying to understand his financial capabilities, because before you get started in drop shipping, it's important to understand your financial capabilities. What is your budget? How much can you spend per day, per month, right? If you have less than $10, how can I help you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you have less than $100, if we're you know what I mean, we're pitching baseballs in the dark trying to hit home runs with no lights on. There's a chance, but the more capital you have, the better chance you have in
Yeah.
this
It's
game. And
always,
that's just the facts.
yeah. And it's like, and I hope like people don't get the I mean, because I used to think too, like, I'm like, oh man, it's like, well, yeah, money makes things a lot easier and a lot faster to happen.
Mhm.
But it doesn't like mean that like if you don't have a lot of money, you won't be, it might take you a little bit longer and like you might have to learn and do a lot of things on your own, but it doesn't mean like, like you won't be successful.
And then how much is your time worth,
Yeah.
right? How much is your time worth? Because here's another story. I don't know how much time we have left, but
We have a little
um,
bit, yeah, we have, yeah, but go ahead. I have one more funny subject that I want to touch, but I'll do it after.
how much is your time, right? Because a lot of people will say, okay, well, you can learn everything you need to learn on YouTube. And
Mhm.
then my next question is, and how do you know what you need to learn to
Yeah.
find it on YouTube, right? If I told you that you needed to learn alpha beta campaign structures for Google Ads, right? Could you have told me you would have thought of that on your own?
Yeah.
So I once helped a person, because I don't want to just help anybody. I can't just help anybody. Some people aren't there yet mentally.
Hmm.
And I don't say that to be mean, but what I'm saying is that you need a certain level of understanding. You need a certain level of progress before I think I can come in and help mold what you're trying to become, right?
Yeah.
So I have example a girl who tells me that she can't afford to keep her lights on, but hopes that she can launch her e-commerce store soon, versus B, a kid who's gotten a maybe one or two sales, but the ad spend is really high, not making much profit,
Hmm.
right? I can obviously work with person B, right, as opposed to person A. And I
Yeah.
did that once. I helped the guy out as well.
Yeah, you have to filter, you have to kind of like filter out like who can you, and it's not like you're like completely dismiss them, because this girl can like, maybe like in a year, 6 months or whatever, she can get back on her feet, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she can like have like maybe more resources or whatever, and be like on the right mindset too. I think that happens too, right? A lot, like people can.
Dude, I was gonna help them both for free, but her problem was that she kept saying, like, one, she couldn't take criticism. I told her that her website is not, she took an image of herself and it was like not even transparent, and she put it as like in the logo of her website, and I told her remove it, it doesn't look good. I'm just being honest too, right? Because I was like,
Yeah.
why would I buy from your website these generic AliExpress products that you're selling, as opposed to just going to Amazon or AliExpress?
Yeah. And she was
And
like, nah, you don't know what you're talking about.
she's like, I've been, he's like, yeah, I haven't had electricity for a while. And I just thought in my head, like, this is a lost cause, because there's only so much I can fix,
Yeah.
I can't fix that.
Yeah.
I can't fix the way you think. But this guy was
Yeah.
just like, I just don't have the strategy right. I'm spending a lot on ads. I'm not getting sales. And the first thing we figured out was like, your niche is a no. You need to pick a new store. It's time to ditch
Pick a
it.
new, just.
Yeah. Funny story though, the way this ends is that I agreed to help this guy for free
Mhm.
because I wanted to see if I could actually, help someone.
Mentor somebody through the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the end, I think, and I'm in COVID may have, played its role, but he ended up doing about 220K in sales 1 month.
Wow.
And till this day, he still won't give me any props, no matter where he talks about it. Right? He
Wow.
tells people he learned it on his own. He 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 brags about how much money he has now. And I always
Man.
wonder if I created a monster as opposed to
Well, I think I wouldn't like think about it because perhaps like, the universe like corrects itself or corrects whatever.
well, my thing is now, this is why I would say this is why I don't help people for free anymore because
Yeah.
of that very thing where what did I get out of it in the end, except for my own realization of something I pretty much knew already was that I could help people with this. He made 220,000 calling me, and like, what time is it now? It's like almost 1 a.m. over here in Thailand. This guy would call me at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Like, hey man, what should I do with this, and that? I have screenshots, tons and tons of messages on my phone, on my messenger, um, of him asking me for help, asking me random questions, calling me, sending me voicemails. And in the end, finally, when he started making money, he just stopped. And I was like,
Man.
could I get a review? I had to beg him for a review.
Wow.
It was one of those, like, I would have figured it out anyway
Yeah.
type of things. And I was like, but how could you? You would have figured it out. Maybe you probably would have quit before you figured it out because you were pretty much near your end. So when you hear people complaining about people trying to charge money for services, I totally understand why on both
Yeah.
sides.
Damn, man. That's yeah, that's a crazy story, man. Like,
So,
but I think yeah, it was a learning opportunity, I guess, right? Like
yep.
it's always like better to see it that way. And so yeah, man, that's why but yeah, I definitely vouch for Mike. He's definitely has I've seen the progression, and I felt like I'm like, wow, this guy like knows his like every time I have like a question about, I always come to you because I mean I know a little. I'm being humble because it's just like it's hard to or impossible to know everything, right? But
Impossible. Yeah.
yeah, but it's like you're like my guy to go to when anytime I launch like a project or like I try to do like a different idea. I tried e-commerce a few times. Unfortunately, I didn't know. I had sales and stuff like that. But for me, it's been a different type of. I never because I've been traveling and stuff like that. I've never been like in a stable environment. Where I'm
I
like,
think if
okay,
you, I think you could do it. I know you
yeah,
could actually. Like that
yeah,
couch right behind you, I think you could sell that on a website for sure. That
yeah.
microphone, I think you could sell that too.
Yeah, I mean, you seen my stores, they always sold. They always
Mhm.
like I always sold every I had 3 stores, Wanderlust City. I don't want to give out the other ones because I might try them again. But you saw like I sold like in all of them.
That's the thing though with drop shipping, right? You can't really, because all the research you do to find your niche, choose your niche, all the money you spend to find out that the niche works and that these products sell. If
Yeah,
someone can just find out your website and find that product, and then just they can,
replicated. Yeah.
the only thing that I would say now is that it can be kind of difficult to get dealership right now,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I
Because
mean,
of
because of
COVID.
COVID, right? The whole
Yeah. So it's kind of hard right now, actually, for people to copy you, I would say.
yeah. So I wanna end it on one more note, Mike, because I think we're running out of time.
Mm,
I just want to bring out like I have this like I went to visit Mike in 2017, I believe. I stayed with him for like a week. It was amazing time. It was incredible. I loved it, man. I was like, this is exactly what I imagined Thailand would be like in Bangkok.
yeah.
But I
Right
have this
before it. Yeah.
I have this image, man, that I can never erase this image from my mind. one time I don't know where we were going, but I just see this like fat e-guru commerce guy, like we like two girls here and like two girls here, and and this guy is like fucking maybe like 300 pounds or whatever,
He's massive.
Yeah, and then I see him and I'm like, that's an e-commerce guru guy right there,
he's a
like
digital nomad for sure. Yeah.
yeah. I just remember that I just have that image in my mind. I'm like, yeah, like those are the guys that you see, like maybe I don't know if he was doing e-commerce. I could be completely wrong, but I believe like there's like a high possibility that, well, he was doing some kind of digital
He
online
had
thing,
money to spend at least.
yeah,
We
he
can
had money,
assume
because
that.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this guy has like
But
two girls here and like two
but
girls
that's the
here.
one thing about Thailand, right? Where you can see that still, where you'll probably, and not something you look forward to, but there are, a lot of older men who thrive, especially some of them being super unhealthy.
Yeah, yeah, and they're just like, they just go
And they have
retired.
beautiful girls, right? Beautiful girls on there. And
Yeah, yeah,
of course, we're not going to, we know they're paying money for it, but
yeah. For them, it's a business transaction, I guess, or whatever.
I,
But
I thought you were going to talk about the Real Madrid shirt trying to get into the club.
oh yeah, that one too, man. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Like, can't believe I forgot about that. Can you remind the story? Because I don't remember that well.
We just left a club called Havana,
Uh-huh.
and it was
I had
like
a
a
great night
Cuban
there,
club.
man.
Yeah, and then we were going to another club called Sugar,
Yeah.
and you had on a black Real Madrid jersey, and we walked in. The guy immediately like looked pointed.
He
He
pointed
pointed at
at
your
the symbol at
badge.
the
Yeah, yeah. He pointed at the badge and was like, "No," shook his head, and it seemed kind of personal. It wasn't like
yeah, it was very personal.
it wasn't like you
I'm like,
can't
what the
wear a
fuck is this?
jersey. It was like you can't wear this badge, right? You can't.
Yeah, I was like,
He's like screw your badge, screw your team, Liverpool FC or something.
yeah, it's like what a lot of American. I mean, I think if the audience is American or like international people will like know this more, like, but soccer and like alliances are like huge, right?
Yeah, I shouldn't start a fight out here though. I don't
But
think we should.
unfortunately, people
Yeah,
do take it like that, man. People in my
yeah,
country, they get into fight. I mean, that happens all over the world, right? Like people
yeah.
like
It's
in
true.
Nigeria, man. Remember, like
The
in
wrong jersey in the wrong area.
yeah, man, they just like shoot your ass and stuff like that. But that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But Mikey, thank you for being on the podcast. You guys should check him out if you're interested in like e-commerce or like all this stuff. He started
Hey,
the
next time we do a podcast, we gotta switch the time zones. Yeah.
yeah, because look, it's dark there and it's like light
Yeah.
here. That's incredible.
Yeah.
But Mike, thank you, man, for stay on after I ended. Okay, thank you guys
Of
for
course.
coming. I
Yeah,
hope
for
you
sure.
guys engage, please. If you enjoy it, like it and subscribe to both of our channels. Right? Thank you.
Take care.